In the midst of the chaos and hustle of the big city, there are stories that go unnoticed, lives struggling to survive amidst indifference. This is the story of Lucas, a boy of only 7 years old, whose life has been marked by the harshness of the streets. His eyes, despite being so young, carry a deep sadness and an unbreakable determination. They reflect the daily struggle for survival and a stubborn hope that better days will come. Lucas lives in the city but is not part of it. He is a shadow among the crowd, invisible to many, but with a story that deserves to be told. Follow Lucas's journey, where an unexpected encounter will change his life forever. Lucas is only 7 years old, but his eyes carry the weight of an entire life. His hair is messy and his clothes are torn and dirty, marks of a daily battle on the streets. He hugs a teddy bear to his chest, which he found in the trash, perhaps his only constant companion. Despite his fragile appearance, there is a flame of determination in his gaze. Lucas survives day by day in a world that seems to have forgotten him. His sad but resolute eyes reflect a soul that refuses to give up. Lucas has a memory that always accompanies him. A blurry memory that he doesn't know if it's real or just a dream. He remembers a woman with a beautiful smile and a loving look. She is on a beach full of people, with open arms for him. In the memory he calls her, "Mom! Mom, where are you?" This image, although vague, is the only light in the darkness of his reality. He also remembers a beautiful house, with colorful walls and a garden full of flowers. In his vague memories, there are cheerful parks where children run and play, laughter that echoes in the air. But again, he doesn't know if these memories are daydreams or fragments of a life he once had. That memory is all he has, a faint hope that somewhere, someone loves and waits for him. Lucas doesn't know if the woman in the memory is real, but he clings to that image with all his strength because it is what keeps him moving forward. Today, like many other days, Lucas is hungry. He walks among the cars stopped at the traffic light, knocking on windows with a pleading look. The drivers look away, speeding up when the light changes, leaving Lucas behind, ignored and invisible. Lucas watches the people hurriedly pass by around him, each immersed in their own urgency, ignoring him as if he were invisible. He squeezes the old bear against his chest, feeling its rough texture and the remnants of comfort it offers. His eyes get lost in the comings and goings of the crowds, while he murmurs to himself, lost in his thoughts. Was it just a dream? Did she really exist? Lucas whispers, his voice almost lost in the city's tumult. He slowly rises, his muscles tense from the cold night and the exhaustion of another aimless day. Lucas's steps echo through the dirty, poorly lit alleys, where shadows dance among heaps of trash. The city lights flicker in the distance, casting a ghostly glow over the deserted streets. For Lucas, the line between reality and imagination is as thin as a silk thread. He doesn't know if that memory of the woman with the warm smile and the comforting embrace is a glimpse of a lost past or just the echo of a desperate desire for affection. But one thing he knows for sure: he is alone in this urban labyrinth, where survival is a daily battle. His steps are hesitant but determined. Each corner hides a new uncertainty. Each street offers a challenge. The night advances, relentless, and Lucas continues his solitary journey, searching for answers that may never come. And you, who are watching this video, do you think it is just a dream of Lucas? Or does that woman exist? Write in the comments. Across the city, Valeria drives her car with the help of the GPS, lost in streets that were once familiar to her. It has been a long time since she visited this city, and the urban landscape seems different, transformed by time and absence. Just as it had been a long time since she listened to the radio, but today, without knowing why, she decided to turn it on. The sound of the first song brings a wave of overwhelming memories. It is a melody that Valeria knows well, one that used to brighten her days and fill her life with happy memories. But now, that same music only evokes pain and nostalgia. Memories of a time when she was happy next to someone who is no longer present. Tears run silently down Valeria's face as she struggles to keep control of the wheel. Since that tragic event, she has never been able to truly smile again. Each note of the music is like a dagger to her heart, reopening wounds that never fully healed. Determined to flee from these painful memories, Valeria makes a bitter decision. "I will never return to this city," she thinks with sadness and determination. She knows there is no place for her here, only memories that torment her and bind her to the past. With a heavy sigh, Valeria decides to leave, abandoning the places that were once scenes of her happiness, now transformed into emotional scars. The radio continues to play in the background, but the sound of the music blends with the noise of the road as she drives away, returning to her world of loneliness and sadness. Valeria looks in the rearview mirror as she drives, and for a brief moment, her eyes meet the reflection of her own face. What she sees is a version of herself that she barely recognizes. The soft features that used to radiate a cheerful smile and a loving gesture are now overshadowed by a shadow of sadness. She remembers how she used to be, especially when she held someone dear in her arms. A smile that emerged automatically, an unconditional love that overflowed in every gesture. But now, those moments seem distant, buried under the weight of an insurmountable loss. The reflection in the rearview mirror does not lie. Valeria's eyes are tired and heavy, marked by tears and pain that have become constant companions since that fateful day. The smile that used to light up her face seems to have been lost forever in the mist of the past. With a tight heart, Valeria averts her gaze from the reflection, unable to bear the sight of her own transformation. She desperately wishes to regain the happiness she once knew, but the way back seems increasingly distant. The road continues ahead of her, straight and relentless, as Valeria moves towards an uncertain future, carrying with her the memories of a time when her smile was genuine and her life was complete. Suddenly, while Valeria drives lost in her painful memories, a beeping sound resonates on the car's dashboard. The fuel indicator blinks, warning that the tank is almost empty. She is surprised to realize that she hadn't paid attention to it before, so absorbed was she in her thoughts. Valeria's heart tightens with the realization. She needs to return to the nearest gas station to refuel and continue her journey as soon as possible, before the lack of fuel leaves her even more vulnerable in a place that now seems hostile. With trembling hands, she adjusts the route on the GPS to find the nearest gas station. Every minute feels like an eternity as she drives, each turn and each traffic light an obstacle to overcome on her way back to safety. The radio still murmurs in the background, playing a melody that now only increases her anguish. Valeria closes her eyes for a moment, taking a deep breath to find strength. She needs to focus on one thing at a time, but the memories and emotions keep mixing inside her, making each decision more difficult. Finally, she spots the lights of the gas station ahead. A sigh of relief escapes her lips as she approaches and parks the car next to the pump. Valeria gets out of the car with quick steps, determined to refuel as quickly as possible and leave behind this city that now represents so much suffering. As the fuel begins to flow into the car's tank, Valeria feels a mixture of relief and urgency. She knows she needs to leave behind the painful memories and move forward, even though the past continues to haunt her. With the tank finally full, Valeria gets back into the car, silently grateful for finding her way back to the present. She takes one last look at the city through the windshield before turning the key in the ignition and heading toward a new horizon, where she might find some peace. Valeria drives a few blocks, and the GPS fails. She ends up on a dark street, almost without lights, and begins to despair. Lucas runs desperately, panting and with his heart racing, fleeing from the boys trying to snatch the small portion of food he managed to get. The shouts of the other boys echo behind him as he darts across the busy street, his teddy bear falling without him noticing. On the other side of the dark street, Lucas finally notices the absence of his precious teddy bear. His heart sinks in panic when he realizes he has lost it, his only source of comfort in such a harsh world. Without hesitation, he turns back and runs, ignoring any danger as he crosses without looking. Meanwhile, Valeria drives down the deserted street, still tormented by the painful memories the music awakened. Her eyes are blurred by tears she cannot contain. She barely sees Lucas running desperately toward his fallen teddy bear. When she sees Lucas, she brakes frantically but still hits the boy. The sound of the impact is sudden and deafening. Everything seems to happen in slow motion as Valeria screams in horror, stopping the car immediately. Desperation takes over as she runs out of the car, ignoring any pain or fear. She kneels beside Lucas, whose small body lies on the ground. Tears run down Valeria's face as she holds the boy's hand, imploring for forgiveness and hoping for a sign of life. People begin to gather around, murmuring in concern and calling for help. Valeria is in shock, her thoughts a blur of remorse and despair. She looks at the fallen teddy bear not far away, an image that breaks her already shattered heart. Lucas slowly opens his eyes, dazed and confused. His breathing is rapid, his body still trembling from the impact of the accident. He looks around, not fully understanding what has happened. Beside him, he sees the worried face of a woman kneeling, tears shining in her eyes. Valeria, with a heart tight with anguish, cannot contain a sigh of relief as she sees Lucas regain consciousness. A trembling smile of hope and joy breaks across her lips, a smile that had not appeared there in a long time. It is a genuine smile, overflowing with gratitude for seeing the boy awake and seemingly well. Lucas, still dazed, looks at Valeria's face in disbelief. He blinks several times, as if expecting everything to disappear, as if he believes he is dreaming. But Valeria's smile is so familiar, so comforting, that he can no longer doubt. It is the same warm and welcoming smile he remembered from his vague memory of the woman on the crowded beach. Lucas's heart fills with a mixture of emotions: relief at being alive, confusion about what happened, and a strange sense of connection with Valeria. He looks into her eyes, seeking answers and finding only compassion and care. Lucas looks into Valeria's eyes, still confused and scared, trying to understand the inexplicable connection he feels with her. Their eyes meet, and at that moment, Valeria looks deeply into those familiar eyes, his face, his expression. And then, as if a veil lifts from her memory darkened by time and pain, she immediately recognizes him. A wave of shock and emotion sweeps through Valeria as she kneels beside Lucas, holding his face in her trembling hands. "My son," she whispers with a broken voice, disbelief and joy mixed in her words. Lucas looks at her with wide eyes, not fully understanding what is happening. He never forgot the face of the woman from his vague memory, but now, in front of him, is the same person he searched for in his dreams and fragmented memories. Valeria cannot contain the tears running down her face as she hugs Lucas tightly, as if fearing he would disappear again. She whispers words of love and nostalgia, promises never to part again. For Lucas, reality seems surreal. He has finally found the woman he always knew existed, the woman who once held him in her arms on that distant beach. Now, he knows that familiar smile was not a dream but a promise of reunion. As the paramedics attend to Lucas and Valeria, the miracle of their reunion warms their hearts. Fate, in a way that neither could have foreseen, brought them together again after so many years of separation and suffering. What seemed to be a tragic accident turned out to be the reunion of a lifetime. The woman Lucas always dreamed of and called mother was real and by his side. "I will never leave you again, Lucas. Never again." Fortunately, Lucas only suffered minor injuries. Valeria managed to brake quickly, and despite the scare, the accident was not serious. After receiving medical attention and confirming that Lucas was okay, Valeria and Lucas left together, determined to make the most of the time they had found. Fate led them to a park, a place full of life and serenity, where the sound of children's laughter and birds singing created a harmonious melody. They walked side by side, still processing the incredible turn their lives had taken. Valeria held Lucas's hand firmly, feeling as if she could never let it go. They sat on a bench, watching the sunset paint the sky with vibrant colors of orange and pink. Lucas rested his head on Valeria's shoulder, and she embraced him, feeling the warmth and love she had longed for since the day he disappeared. "I always knew you were somewhere, waiting for me," Lucas said, his voice full of hope and joy. "And I never stopped searching for you," Valeria replied, tears of happiness streaming down her face. "Now that I've found you, we will never be apart again." The sun slowly disappeared on the horizon, but the light that filled Valeria's and Lucas's hearts only grew. Since the day Lucas got lost on the beach so long ago, happiness seemed like a distant dream. But now it all came back. They spent the rest of the afternoon in the park, laughing, talking, and enjoying every moment together. Joy had finally returned to their lives, uniting mother and son in an embrace that promised never to be broken again. Did you enjoy the video? How about a little joke? If you made it this far, write "beach" in the comments to spark curiosity for those who didn't stay until the end. Don't miss our other stories. See you next time.